When it comes to puppy farming and unregulated breeding, Wales has unfortunately a terrible name. Now it's time to address this, and of course the Welsh Government can show a lead to other countries indeed. In fact, Westminster are apparently watching closely what happens in Wales. So if the Welsh Government come across with strong legislation to control this and in many cases stop it, that's all to the good.
Oscar was used as a stud dog, so he'd been particularly neglected and abused. Basically kept out in a shed in a field somewhere in the cold, terrified of people, never seen grass or anything. You know, he was very, very badly affected, to the extent that our vet thought he'd had spinal surgery because his back was in such a mess.
Some of these animals poorly live in intolerable conditions, very confined. Their lives are dark and fearful. Many of the bitches continue breeding throughout their entire life, even when indeed they have fractures. And when they are no longer able to carry on doing that, they're strangled, or they're drowned, or they're shot, or if they are able to walk, possibly they're let loose. This cannot be tolerated. All that is necessary, of course, for this kind of evil to continue is for people in influential positions to say nothing and to do nothing. Now, I have no qualifications in psychiatry or even in psychology, but I do believe that those people who have no feeling for animal welfare don't have feeling for anyone in humankind either. The line is very, very thin indeed, and it's easily crossed. It has to be stopped in so many ways, and we hope indeed that Wales can show a lead in this.
Puppy farming is an absolute scourge in this country, and it's a total discredit to a country which is known as a nation of dog lovers, dog owners. We absolutely must act against it, and we must take effective action against it. I'm delighted to give my personal support to C.A.R.I.A.D and its work. We've got clearly a network of people, the length and breadth of Wales and beyond, who are committed to the cause of animal welfare. I'm delighted to have met some of the members here today and to have indeed also seen the dogs that are so well looked after and that give such character to a demonstration like this. So thank you very much indeed, C.A.R.I.A.D, for having organised this event and for having given me the opportunity to contribute in a small way.
The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. And I think that's absolutely right.
Puppy farming is wicked, cruel, evil, exploitative, and is one of the greatest manifestations of man's inhumanity to canines for the simple pursuit of profit. It is profoundly wicked and profoundly wrong. It is time that it was brought to an end through impactful, powerful and comprehensive legislation which will achieve what needs to be achieved in that regard.
There has to be an end for this battery system of producing puppies where the parents are not seeing the light of day until, of course, they run out of breeding capability and then they're quietly put aside and so on. And so many puppies then that are given as gifts are not required or sold on or for some reason not required, are found in all kinds of places and usually found passed away. So really and truly, these creatures before us are part of who we are and part of our family. We have a duty here today and we have a chance.
I'm speaking to you not only as a vet, but also as the owner of a rescue dog who was saved from a life in a puppy farm. She was handed in to a vet in West Wales by a gentleman who said he'd found her running in the street with a broken leg. The vets, with the help of Greyhound Rescue Wales, who I know are here, fixed her leg and put her up for adoption. The same gentleman came back and said, "That's my dog, I want her back, and I'm not going to pay to have her leg fixed." And naturally they refused, and she was put up for adoption where I came to her when I worked in the valleys, and now she enjoys a very happy life. Needless to say, I spayed her when she was 6 months old. So no puppies for Ruby. The attitude of this gentleman speaks volumes about what breeders in Wales think of their dogs. You know, they are a commodity to these people, and her plight would have been typical of the plight of many bitches. How many Rubies are there who never got a home, who were shot or strangled or drowned. It's not nice to hear, but this is the reality that happens to dogs who are too old to breed or unsuitable for breeding.
And we're told that as Christians, we must follow Christ's example. We must have compassion and care towards weaker forms of life than our own. You know, it's a tragedy indeed that people refer to man having dominion over the animals as having the right to abuse and exploit them. The true barometer of a nation is reflected in how it treats defenseless animals, how it treats more vulnerable forms of life than its own. But the awful tragedy is that people, they are selective in their compassion. They say, why be concerned about animals? What about humans? And yet, you know, the people I find who are the most caring towards humans in real need are those who are concerned about animals as well. But I think of Anna Sewell, who wrote that wonderful childhood classic, Black Beauty. She said, you can talk as much as you like about your religion, but if it does not teach you to be kind and caring towards animals as well as humans, then it is nothing but an utter sham. All that's necessary for evil to exist and to spread is that so-called respectable folk keep their mouths shut and refuse to write about things and just remain respectably silent. How pathetic! As Christians we're told to fight the good fight with all our might. And we must do that. We must fight. We must be a mouthpiece for defenseless animals.
Jet arrived in the boot of a farmer's car in a lay-by. Her back was buckled, her tummy dragged on the ground. She had cauliflower ears and ticks and rotted teeth and smelt like something had died. Surgery later revealed a 3-kilogram mass in her abdomen. That, along with the endless litters of puppies that she had carried, explained her damaged back. The day that Jet came home from the vets after surgery, I promised her I would never say no to another puppy farm dog. And with the support of our fantastic volunteers, I'm proud to say I never have. When Jet opened my eyes to the horror of puppy farming, I made a choice. I would save as many of the Jets in our rescue and do my best to mend them, or I could be their voice. It was almost impossible to do both. I chose to concentrate on helping the damaged dogs, to pick up the broken bodies, and mend the broken minds, and to show them the love that they had never previously known. But that is not enough. These dogs need you, and they need your voice. Governments need to know that dog farming is not acceptable. We have the voice, the dogs need us, and those in positions of power need to be made aware that we, the electorate, will not rest until they hear our voice, speaking as one voice.
You may be asking, what do stray dogs have to do with puppy farming? The answer is simple. Whilst almost 7,000 stray dogs are destroyed every year for want of a home, it is an absolute disgrace that commercial breeders are churning out wholesale numbers of puppies. Believe me when I say rescue centres are in crisis. We are at saturation point with the numbers of unwanted dogs. Whilst there are genuine owners that need to rehome their dogs for valid reasons, there are many, many more who just abandon them without a second thought. A responsible breeder will carefully vet their puppies' homes. They will also take back their dogs if anything happens in the future to ensure they never need to enter the rescue system. Puppy farmers and backyard breeders will just sell their merchandise, because that's what they are, merchandise, onto anyone who can pay, irrespective of their suitability. Some will be lucky and end up in loving homes for the rest of their lives. But for others, there are no such happy endings. To walk down, see why I get upset now, to walk down a row of death row dogs, all eagerly peering out from their kennels, their eyes almost pleading, pick me, is bad enough. But to then play God and decide who can live and who must die is something you never come to terms with. I know, as I have been that person, and the guilt stays with you forever. Each and every dog destroyed was bred by someone, somewhere, and they must take responsibility for their last breaths. Irresponsible breeding is killing our dogs. It is as simple as that. There was Alvie, a tiny Bichon Frise puppy found with severe sarcoptic mange and dragging her back leg. I will never forget her pitiful cries of pain, the crunching of her bones as the vet manipulated them. I would never forget the stinging of the tears streaming down my face as I gently held her as the vet let her slip away. Her short life had been a miserable one, from the day she was born until the day she died, thanks to the greed of a puppy farmer. We owe it to dogs like Alvie to not let their deaths be in vain, but to instead inspire us to work towards the day no dog has to suffer in silence. Together, we are their voice, one voice.
How can we make people care about things they should care about? You're standing here today because you care, and you know change is needed, and you will help it happen. The problem of pups being bred for profit in the borderless environment of puppy farming is not a new issue. Yet, with all we have learned about this despicable activity, sadly, we know it is generally ignored by those who could use their position of authority to end this miserable trade. And by ending it once and for all, the dogs and pups caught up within this cruel industry would be protected. And the public would also have protection from being unwittingly or otherwise involved in perpetrating this form of abuse, which is simply caused by greed for profit.
With a wonderful track that Maria Danes has allowed us to play, if I could ask you if you have brought a photo with you of your puppy farm survivor, if you'll be able to pin it on the board that's being brought over now.
Is all we need. Now you trust me. I've found a heart that I can own. Now you need me. I feel the pain slip from my bones, for you're the one who believes in me. And I'm home. Home is a ray of sun beneath the trees. Home is a mother's love, and we're all babies at her knees. Home is the comfort in the love we need. Home, where we are free.
Right now, as we stand here, dogs are dying and suffering, but right now as we stand here, there are some people trying to help them. Puppy farming is a shameful institution that has been allowed to flourish in the name of human greed. Nothing else. And that's why anyone with a heart knows why this industry must be stopped. If we can't be good guardians to innocent creatures, we will never be able to be good guardians to our own kind. The welfare of animals and the welfare of our dogs is now and will always be a barometer of the overall health of our society. The law has expectations of us as citizens, and if we're found to break the law, we're punished. If someone hurts you physically or even psychologically, there are laws in place to ensure that those who perpetrate these crimes are punished. That's because in most instances the law is prescriptive. There are no grey areas where interpretation of the law is tolerated. Not so when it comes to animal welfare. Unfortunately, as you've heard, to date, the Animal Welfare Act has been treated as an optional extra. The new dog breeding regulations may, of course, not be perfect and may not be everyone's idea of perfect, but they are starting to embrace many of the principles of the Animal Welfare Act, and they are certainly a huge improvement on where we are now. The only thing that should be in your minds is whether these new regulations best serve the welfare of dogs.
Come to me, my C.A.R.I.A.D. Come to Cwtch and pray. Hold me close now, C.A.R.I.A.D. until the dawn's first ray. Close your eyes now, C.A.R.I.A.D. I'd Cwtch up close to see the moon and the stars are yours tonight, safe and sound with me. At last asleep, my C.A.R.I.A.D. asleep in loving arms. The Cwtch of love is ours tonight, in peace and care and calm. Close your eyes now, C.A.R.I.A.D. and Cwtch up close to see